and I got frozen feet there. And from there, I'm not sure, it's got to be January.
Now, is this from Bastogne that you went to Germany? Or
No, I didn't get frozen feet at Bastogne, but we helped relieve them. But actually, as I went long enough, you get frozen feet farther. I was into Germany, but it's so cold, almost the same temperature, it wasn't that much different temperature. And they flew me in a seaport center from Germany into a Paris hospital for about a month. And then they flew me to London for about a month in the hospital.
This was because you had frozen feet.
Right. And they had a lot of guys had frozen feet. And the way I talk is, if I didn't have frozen feet, I wouldn't be here either. It's a long average how far you could go. I went through, I've been in 3 major battles. And you come back in one piece. Mm-hmm. Now, the gunner, he was a gunner, and he said, sorry, one time I remember him saying this like a yesterday. I have frozen feet. I said, let me look at it. I said, you have frozen feet, but it don't look bad enough for me. And I know what they did with me with a couple of free travel I am. You will be back maybe a week or two, or even but you'll be back here again. Now, try to hang around one more day. In the meantime, try not to get killed. Because if you get killed, how am I going to feel? And he hung around one more day. Now, he had more serious than I thought he did. Because he went all the way back to the United States. So it had to be a lot more serious. I didn't check on him. But he might have lost some toes or put it up, you know what I mean? It had to be more serious than what I had.
Now, was this during the Battle of the Bulge?
No, this was later. This was in Germany. This was in Germany.
Uh-huh.
We got through the Battle of the Bulge. You know, like relieving them, you know, Bastogne. They always say Battle of the Bulge because once the Bulge, they went tried to go all the way into the English Channel. They didn't get that far, but they went a long way to the Germans. They never dreamed that they had that much armament left.
Now, where were you in Germany when you came?
I'm not sure where I was at, but it was I know it was in Germany.
Uh-huh.
I know, because any country I go into, I say, what's that step in that country? And it was always the right foot. I'm right hand, that's why I stepped with the right foot. France and Belgium, Germany. And anyhow, that's the main things that stand out. And oh yeah, another thing too. Now, if you're an observer for the it's like late artillery, so you got to be out in front of everybody.
Watch him drink water.
Anyhow, what I was going to say was, now there's nobody in front of me but Germans. Like I say that, people think why should I lie? I'm like a black. See, there's no heroes. They say no, there's no heroes anywhere. You do what you have to do. Anyhow, so I'm out in front, and they like I say, I have binoculars. I have to see what's going on, and they try to knock me out. I mean, they tried to fire on me a few times, and they didn't hit me. Naturally, I wouldn't be here. And I had a radio man with me. They called back to tell the gun, or it's a mortar. You call it a gun. Where to fire? So not only I'm in the infantry, I'm in front of the infantry. That don't sound too good either. But I don't think we ever have anybody talk the way I talk, you know what I mean? Because I'm kidding around and it's serious, but I try to make a little joke out of it. But it's not. There's no joke to war. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. That's the main thing that I know. Oh yeah, going over to Green Bay, we went over 7 days. Coming back, then he sent me to Marseille, France. Yeah, that I had to tell you the end though. They put me in limited service. That I know of. They took me out of the 80th Infantry Division and put me in a 896 anti-aircraft unit. And then the job, they sent me down to Marseille, France. All the way from London, over there, I went to Marseille, France, and they had a German prisoner of war camp there. That had to be about, I don't know how many, 20,000 or what it was. And I had sergeant in the guard once a month. And see, the war was over, In fact, I was in London where they turned the lights on the first sign about 4 years. I was in London at that time. The war ended while I was in London.
You mean May and
I think that's about when the war.
44. 43.
When did the war end in Germany? German war.
That was 45.
April, I think it was April 15th or something like that. Something like that, too. Maybe May.
45.
May.
It could be May or April. Around the middle of the month. And I was there when the war ended. And London was,
You were in England then? When
yeah,
the war
I was
ended?
there. Then they sent me over to, so I can't go home. I don't have what they have points or something like that there. You had to have so many points, then you go home. So I wasn't, people who were in the army or some kind of service long enough, they went ahead of me. And I finally caught up with I think I had 84 points, so I remember the amount of points. So eventually they got to me. And that's about all I can say. I don't know.
Now, were you going to be headed at home?
What,
When the absorber, remember?
Go ahead, you can speak up, go
you
ahead.
can talk a little
When you were
higher.
the observer, you forgot to finish and you told them where to fire, and you hit a ball. Remember?
Oh yeah.
That's the main thing.
So anyhow, I'm firing into the woods there, and they called back on the radio. What are you firing at? I said personnel. But I did fire. There was some person that came out of the woods there, and then I fired a few rounds, and I don't know what's in the woods, and a big ball of smoke came up above the trees. So and it happened to be this is the first time I had a field artillery officer next to me. I never had anybody next to me with like field artillery. He said you had to hit an ammunition dump because nothing can be that high up above the tree. Now, see, I don't want to knock anything, but nobody turned me in for that. Though. I mean, I don't want to medal, but when you knock out too many, all the ammunition, I mean, the Germans had less to fire at you, and they could surrender more faster. But that was one thing I remember.
Say it again.
Now, where was that?
Brother.
I'm not sure what, it was in Germany at that time. It had to be in Germany. But well, if it wasn't Germany, it had to be Germany. But and then another time, let's see what happened then. Oh yeah, two Germans are coming toward us, and I got the radio man. I said, you take one of right or left, and empty the whole clip. See, there's 8 rounds of ammunition in a clip. It's M1 rifle, or even with the carbine, you got 8, and usually you tape it together so you have 8 on the top and 8 on the right. If you use the 8, you turn it over and put it in the gun. But that's the closest thing I came to firing at a German directly. I killed a bunch of them. I don't kill one at a time. And I asked them when they captured the town. I asked them, I'm Jewish. I'm in German. I can a little similar. I can almost tell what they're saying. It's similar language. But anyhow, I asked one of the guys, one of the German soldiers, what gave you the most trouble in the mortars? See, if you know anything about warfare, the mortars had a small shell. So when you hear the shell, it is there. Now the field artillery have a big shell, and you know it's going to go over you or in front of you, but you can't tell with a mortar. When you hear it, you better beat her. That's all. I don't know what else to say. That's the main. I call that's the main attraction. You know what I mean? Everything's an attraction.
Now, you said you were in England when the war was over.
Yeah.
So were you on the way home? Oh, then
No,
you couldn't go home because you didn't have enough points.
No, I didn't have enough points to
you
get
said.
up. No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, coming back, we went from Marseille, France into New York, and you go through the Rock of Gibraltar, and all the way to New York, 13 days. And one of these boats, it rocks. Well, I was sick the whole time. I went in there. I think I came back and weighed like 165. When I hit New York, I was about 150. I didn't eat nothing. They told you got to eat something. I said no. See, if you're sergeant, you don't have as many duties, so you can do almost anything you want. And you have somebody else, you have a buck sergeant or corporal to do what you want to do, and you don't have the little details to take care of. And and I was never so sick, and,
Well, I can sympathize with you.
and then when we hit New York,
Yeah.
they gave us a steak dinner, steak.